Hello students and welcome back. Today we are diving into part 3 of The Rattrap. And let me tell you, this is where the story really starts to get emotional and meaningful. We're at a major turning point, where a simple case of mistaken identity is about to set off a chain reaction that challenges our peddler's entire view of the world. Let's get right into it.
All right, so let's just jump right into the scene. Picture this. The peddler is trying to make himself invisible in the warmth of the forge, right? The blacksmiths, they barely even look at him. But then, the owner of the mill, the ironmaster, comes stomping in. He walks right up to the stranger, studies him, and then rips his hat off to get a better look. You can just feel the tension in that moment.
In this moment, this case of mistaken identity, well, it's the engine that drives this entire part of the story. Let's break down exactly how this simple mistake changes absolutely everything.
So, the Ironmaster doesn't just see a vagabond. He is 100% convinced that he's looking at an old army buddy of his, Captain von Stahler, who's just, well, clearly fallen on some very hard times. But of course, you and I, we know he's completely wrong. The peddler has never seen this man before in his life. And this, students, is a perfect example of what we call dramatic irony. It's when we, the readers, know the truth, but the character in the story is totally in the dark. It creates this immediate suspense, doesn't it? We're all just holding our breath, thinking, oh boy, what is the peddler going to do now?
So here we are at a really crucial moment of choice for the peddler. He's standing face to face with a golden opportunity to just tell the truth, but he doesn't. Let's explore the psychology behind that decision. I mean, think about it. He has the perfect chance to set the record straight. To just say, sorry, you've got the wrong guy. But he doesn't. So why do you think he lets this lie continue? Well, from the peddler's cynical point of view, this is just another piece of bait in the giant rat trap of the world. He's desperate, right? And he sees a chance here. He figures if this rich ironmaster thinks he's an old friend, maybe a couple of kroner will just fall his way. He's simply playing the game, the way he's always seen it played.
But then, the ironmaster offers something way more dangerous than just money. An invitation to his house for Christmas. Now, this was definitely not part of the peddler's plan. He was hoping for a handout, not to become the guest of honor. He's absolutely terrified. See, this doesn't feel like an invitation to him. It feels like a trap. Don't forget, he's got 30 stolen kroner in his pocket. Stepping into the bright light of a fancy house would mean his lie would be exposed for sure. The text says it's like throwing himself voluntarily into the lion's den. So of course, he immediately and firmly says no. After the peddler refuses again and again, the ironmaster decides to send in his secret weapon, his daughter, Edla Wilmanson. And her arrival on the scene completely changes the dynamic.
Now, Edla is the total opposite of her loud, confident father. The text describes her as not pretty, but modest and very shy. But underneath that quiet surface, she is sharp, incredibly observant, and a deeply compassionate person. And here is the key difference between her and her father. Edla is not fooled for a single second. She looks at the peddler and she immediately senses his fear. Her intuition is just screaming that this man is no army captain. He's much more likely a thief or maybe even an escaped prisoner. This comparison really gets to the heart of it. The Ironmaster's offer comes from a sense of social duty. He feels obligated to help someone he thinks is an old friend. But Edla's offer, even though she's suspicious, comes from a place of true compassion. He sees a captain. She sees a scared, suffering human being who needs help.
And her promise, this promise is the key that unlocks his trust. She offers him something way more valuable than charity. She offers him dignity and freedom. By promising him he can leave whenever he wants, no questions asked, she speaks to him in a language of safety that cuts right through all that fear.
Her sincere kindness just breaks through his defenses. For maybe the first time in his entire life, someone is treating him with respect and without any conditions. This unexpected compassion builds a very fragile sense of trust, and he finally agrees to go with her.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second and look at the big ideas that are swirling around in this part of the story.
So you see, these themes are all tangled up together. The mistaken identity creates a test that exposes the peddler's moral weakness, but it also highlights this deep loneliness, not just in the peddler, but in Edla's family too, who have no one to share Christmas with. And most importantly, it sets the stage for real compassion to become a catalyst, planting the seeds for a true transformation.
As the peddler puts on the fur coat that Edla offered him and leaves that dark forge with her, we can really feel a fundamental shift happening in the story.
The story is literally moving from darkness into light. We're leaving behind the grime of the forge and the peddler's dark, cynical worldview, and we're stepping into the possibility of change. Edla's kindness is that first little ray of hope. The real journey, though, that has only just begun.
And that leaves us with a critical question to think about. Can this one moment of trust, this one single act of genuine compassion, truly erase a lifetime of hardship and cynicism? We'll find out what happens next. If you found this explanation helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one.